black and white filter, rant mode, that means the doctor's about to drop some knowledge on you once again. It's discouraging to see the level of maturity has downgraded in gamers from the NES and 16-bit era to now. And I know some of you guys are like, what do you mean? I'm super mature. I'm super duper intelligent, Trey. What are you talking about, Trey? I am the mature. Are you? Are you? Look at these stupid fanboy wars that are going on and have been going on for the last couple generations. Now, some of you guys are, well, most of you guys are younger, so you didn't really, well, you didn't witness, or weren't old enough to really truly witness the NES or the 16-bit era, but I'm gonna school you in on some stuff. These fanboy wars that's been going on since like the N64 era up to now, that stuff didn't really happen back then. I mean, people had their preferences and their like system allegiances or whatever, but it was never like this. Never like this. And the sad thing is that most of us during that era were more mature, I guess, and we were little kids, like age 1 to like max, probably on YouTube. Let's see, most people, gamers on here that are part of this community, the older gamers, are what, at their mid 30s at the latest. So that means they were still little kids back then and still more mature. And if you're wondering why I say more mature, it's because back then, NES era, 16-bit era, we had our preferences, but that didn't stop us from playing games on other systems. Like, you know how we have now where, oh, I can't play it on the Wii, that's the kiddie system. Or, I don't play Xbox, Xbox sucks, I'm a Sony drone for life. Okay, that kind of stuff didn't happen in the 8-bit era, in the 16-bit era. People, yes, they had their preferences, be like, oh yeah, Super Nintendo, that's my system, Genesis, that's my system. But gamers back then were willing to play a game on any system. Just the fact that we could play a video game was enough for us. We wouldn't go to a friend's house or somebody's house, be like, oh, you got the Genesis? I don't play the Genesis. And be like, oh, you got the Genesis? What games you got? See, the thing now that is so different is most people's fanboyism during the 16-bit era was because, one, we had to pretty much beg our parents to buy one system, let alone two. So being a multi-console owner back then, for most of us, wasn't an option. That was really the reason for the system allegiances back then. If you ask any kid during that era, even if they were a huge Super Nintendo fan, huge Genesis fan, if you said, hey, I'm gonna give you this other system, or do you want this other system? Be like, nigga, hell yes. See, the difference now is the majority of, especially the hardcore game players these days, can afford and have access to multiple systems. They could be multi-system owners if they really wanted to. And you can tell by the amount of games that they own. See, back then, most people only owned, I wouldn't say a handful, but we didn't buy nearly as many games as we do today. And back then, like, renting was like your best friend. Like, we used to rent games all the time. It was all about renting. We bought games, but not nearly like today. And I guess part of that is the games actually cost more then, especially for the time if you consider inflation. But yeah, that was the main factor. You got these fanboys today that they'll have the money to buy another system. They know the other system has good games, but they won't buy it because they have an allegiance to a certain company. Now you guys might say, well, Trey, you own a PS3, you own a Wii, how come you don't own a 360? Me not owning a 360 has nothing to do with the games, people. The reason why I don't own a 360 is because I didn't want to support a system that was faulty. Period. If the 360s never broke, I'd buy one. And don't tell me, oh, well, the new ones don't break. Yeah. 6 years later, yeah, I think I'll just wait for whatever next comes out. But if the next Xbox has the same kind of faulty hardware, I'm not picking it up. But the thing about me not owning a 360 has nothing to do with fanboy reasonings. It's called not lowering my standards to buy hardware that I know is going to break. I don't buy things that I know is going to break. Do you buy a car you know is going to break? Do you buy a TV you know is going to break? Exactly. Now, but the thing that's just crazy that us little 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds, 5-year-olds back then are more mature than the 16, 17, 18, 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds today because of the stupid fanboyism. Now, I'm not saying that all of the younger gamers are like this, but it's apparent that the large majority are. And it's pretty sad. I mean, think about it. You won't play a game that you're interested in, that you think was probably actually good, because of the system that it's on. That's like me going, like, I like Samsung TVs, okay? Samsung HD TVs. That's like me going to that's like me going to ECC's house and say, oh yeah, he's like, oh yeah, you want to watch a movie? Like, cool. And I sit down, oh, nigga, you got a Vizio? Nah, son, can't watch that movie today. Like, you see how stupid that sounds? You guys need to grow up. You need to grow up. Period. Like, if you're interested in a game, just play it. I have no problems playing the 360. I own a PS3, own a Wii. If Vita comes out with good games, I'll play games on the Vita. I'm probably not gonna buy one, but if somebody said, hey, you wanna check out this Vita? I'd be like, yeah, cool. Because I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer, not some little propaganda puppet. See, the difference now between then is like the 16-bit era. That was a heated rivalry, okay? But see, you know what the difference is? The difference is there, we let the companies, Sega and Nintendo, we let them fight it out while we sat back and enjoyed the games. And that's the difference, my friends.